Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our Subconscious Speaks. My name is Don Robert, and together with my amazing, talented, award-winning partner,
Tina Orlando.
and together we are,
Tina Orlando.
and Dawn. Hi, Tina.
Hi.
I
How
feel
are
like I just
you?
saw you on New Year's Eve. How are you?
I know,
Can you believe it's
right?
already 4 days later?
No,
That's
no.
crazy,
What's
right?
it? A time is
Is
just.
this year gonna fly by in double time, you
I think
think?
so. I
Yeah.
do. I do. I do. It's 4 days already. Who? What
Yeah.
was
And
it?
the
Yeah.
days are weird. It's like so yesterday it was a day. The days just all bled together, and technically it was Friday.
Yeah.
So I worked. I
Mhm. Mhm.
um, but it felt like it was Monday, and today
Ah.
wasn't going to be a day off, so to speak.
Yeah.
But today's really not a day off. I'm doing other
Okay.
things, and then we, obviously record the episodes on Saturdays. It just was just a weird kind of, and then like if you have to try and corral other people, they're on their own weird time schedule, and it was
Mhm.
just you know it was
Yeah.
just
I was convinced it was Tuesday yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt
I
like
just.
Monday to me yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and everybody said it. They all said the same thing.
Yeah.
People that I
It's an
work with.
interesting thing that it's like a phenomena that most people experience, that we
Hmm.
collectively, what do you think that is?
I think it throws off the rhythm of, the work week, and then you put a day off in the middle that we're so accustomed to not having that we
Mhm.
automatically think, oh, it's Monday, I had a day off. So,
So it's more of that word that people get a little worried about when they hear it, programming, right?
mm, the
The
big programming.
program got changed.
Hmm. Yeah.
The apple
Yeah.
cart got upset, and so it threw most of us.
Hmm.
I don't think anybody's impervious to this. I think that collectively everybody suffers from this to some extent, if
Hmm.
you've got some personal hacks that you use to kind of stay in the moment and look at the calendar or whatever, right? Whatever you're
Right.
using.
Right.
Um, but I think collectively, it's just interesting that this something like this connects us all.
Yeah. And I think it's even more evident because we don't really look at calendars like we used to, or clocks like we used to. It's not really the same. Like when the daylight savings time changes, we don't have to set the clocks anymore. They just turn, like,
Well,
on your
if
computer, unless
yeah,
you have a microwave or whatever. But
right. They're still manual clocks, even though they don't have a second hand
there's a
and they're
few.
not using the big hand and the little hand to tell time. Those
Right.
need to be set. And then the digital ones need to be set. But yeah, the phone all on its own, computer all on its own. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if
Please.
you if you have you don't have an alarm clock and you use your phone, you don't have to worry about it changing time.
Yeah, I
Which,
stopped using an alarm clock a long time ago.
right, so you wouldn't have to change that, so there wouldn't be that click in your head where it's like, oh, right, it's this time of
It's
year. It just
yeah,
rolls right on over. But the same
interesting
thing
how
for
that's
holiday.
seamless, but when you shuffle the days and you have the energy and vibe of a weekend on a Tuesday,
Right.
like Tuesday was Friday night
Yes.
for most people, right?
Yes.
That work a typical Monday through
Yes.
Friday,
Yes.
occupation. And
Hmm.
so that's the problem is so you've got this kind of linear timetable that you're used to, and then you pull a day out and put in
Hmm.
a weekend day, and
A
it's
week,
like,
a weekend. What happened? It's
yeah,
Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah. It was very
that's it.
strange.
That's an interesting topic to talk about. It's like
Mhm.
it's interesting. It kind of goes in hand with the whole power of this hypnotic world we've been talking about, right? These
Hmm.
loops and patterns that we're all kind of raised with and collect over time that are the drivers of our life, the
Hmm.
patterns, if you will, the
Hmm.
programming, if you want to
Hmm.
look at it from a different angle.
Hmm.
Because programming, right? Kappas would say those programming is positive and negative.
Programs are running.
And Cheryl would say that, it's pleasurable because they're known,
Right. Yes.
which makes no sense, right? That something negative can be pleasurable, but it's pleasurable to the mind because the mind knows it.
Well, it could have been pleasurable when you learned it, right? Just because you know it as an adult as a negative, as a kid, you might have learned it as a positive, and vice versa.
So even though all the warnings are on a pack of cigarettes, do they still have the warnings on cigarettes? I
Hmm.
haven't seen a pack of cigarettes in a long time,
Yeah.
but I do a
Yeah.
lot of work with smokers, as you know, and so
They learn it in a positive.
well, they learn it as a coping mechanism,
Mm.
or like I don't know why I was so hell bent on smoking. Maybe because my mom and all of her friends smoked. My dad didn't smoke though,
Right?
and
So you
so
didn't see it as a
my
negative.
huh.
So you didn't see it as a negative. You
Um,
saw it as a positive.
Yeah, it was so glamorized back then. Like every movie, television. I just rewatched Die Hard 1 and 2 because
Hmm.
I had to complete
Yeah.
my Christmas loop of movies. Die Hard
Hmm.
is a Christmas movie,
Because
just
it's
so we're
movie.
clear.
Yes. Yes.
And he is just loving every minute of those scenes where he's smoking.
Uh-huh.
And,
But but you're saying you learned it as a kid. It was glamorous, so it was a
no, but
positive.
it wasn't glamorous because my mom smoked. It was because of
No.
movies and television, because the cool
Yes.
people smoked.
Right.
And
So
I
you
was
saw it.
hell bent on being cool.
Right. You saw it in your subconscious, in the positive and negatives. You put that in the positive category, at least according to Melton.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's what he says.
All right. We
Hmm.
like Melton. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
You saw it as a positive as a kid. It was a relief. It was a coping mechanism. It's in the positive side.
And so
And
what happens when your conscious mind catches up and says that it's not? Does it change?
I don't really think so. Do you? I think that you consciously
I'm
know it's
under,
bad and you still do it.
say again.
I know that you consciously could know it's bad and still do it
So that to me is a negative known association. It's a negative. You know that it's killing you.
eventually.
You eventually, right. So at some point you pass over from, oh, this is cool to like it's killing me. Like,
Yeah, but consciously, right? But where it's housed is positive.
hmm,
I mean, it's a tough one. It's with any addiction, though. Think about it. You learn it as a positive because it's providing something, right? Negative or positive doesn't matter. The result is though that it is positive because it's coping, so it's giving you relief. That's positive,
okay.
even though the
I'll,
substance is
I'll
negative.
acquiesce on that. Yes.
Even though the substance and the conscious and everything around it is negative, it's giving you something. You're getting something out of it, so it's seen as the positive.
Okay. But
I'm
at
not
some
saying it's
point,
positive.
it turns into a negative because you know better, so to speak.
Uh-huh. Then
But
why can't you
but
just quit?
as because we've talked about this in previous episodes, right? That the subconscious is running the show.
And the subconscious knows it as a positive. Why would I stop? Alcohol, drugs, shopping, any addiction, food.
But when a client comes to a hypnotherapist, it's not a positive anymore because people don't seek help to change a positive in their life. I don't think so.
No, no, consciously, it's a negative. I don't know if the subconscious is, that's where they're incongruent for me.
The conscious and the sub.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So consciously, I shouldn't be doing this, but you're still doing it. Why? Because it's a known pattern. And that known pattern is positive or negative, pain or pleasure, right?
Yeah. Likes or dislikes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just incongruent and it needs to be congruent on one side. It needs to be pushed to the correct side, right? So you won't do it anymore.
And how would one push it to the other side, Tina?
Well, I mean that's the hypnosis. You gotta come and talk to us. Well, let us do our what we do, but
Yeah.
you know,
How
I
about
I
we
just
break open the vault and like just get down to like what
I
is
mean,
it, what's really causing the change from the positive to the negative, or the negative to the positive, or connecting, as you say, getting congruent with what your conscious mind knows is right for
hmm
you, but your subconscious is running the show. So of course the subconscious is always going to win.
hmm
It doesn't matter if you want to use 90-10, 95-5, or 8
right.
88-12, or whatever math you want to use. The predominant ruler of your life is your subconscious.
Well, what do you do? Because I know because for me it depends on the client and how they respond. Are they visual or are they auditory? Because that would then depend on what I'm going to do.
It's almost like if there was a test with like 26 questions you could ask to figure that out.
Well, of course, but some people will say, I they come up with things that are identifiers as far as I can see with my clients. Um, what works best for one doesn't always work best for another. For me, it's pushing over to the negative. Like we need to get it all the way over there. Like those things are all bad. I don't do a lot of smoking. That's more your thing. There are other things that are addictions that I do talk about, but not smoking. Um, More adult
Adult
addictions.
addictions. We're not going to say the P word.
Well,
It
I don't know
rhymes
how
with
YouTube.
corn.
I don't know how YouTube will feel about it, but adult
I,
viewing. I don't know if I mean I could say it. It's adult porn addiction,
yeah.
and we'll see where that goes. But that's a different thing. It's not like it's not quite the same as
No.
smoking.
Yeah. Or
I
drinking.
don't or
But
drinking.
it is still a coping mechanism though.
Oh, it is so the coping
It's still
mechanism.
reaching outside of yourself. That's what
And
I've kind of boiled it all down to for me, because I've just gotten a string of people that are drinking more than they want to drink, but don't identify as alcoholic that I'm working with. Um, and I'm really with all these different ailments that people are. It's just really reaching outside of yourself for comfort,
so here's the
because
thing
we're not
about
taught how to. We learn it when we're infants, right? When our parents don't come to us and when we're crying in the crib. Most
Mhm,
parents, right? There
mhm.
are people that coddle and go to the child. There's different opinions on this, and we're not going to get into that. Don't want to upset that group of people.
I mean,
uh,
we can start throwing darts at things
but
now.
no, but truly, this is my beliefs, that when we're children, we're born, right, as Kappa said. Everybody would agree, just blank slate, right? We get the two basic fears of height and loud noises and the primitive mind. That's it. Everything else is a clear canvas that we start collecting. And even
Mhm.
psychologists and psychotherapists agree, like those first five, at least 5 years, are the formative years.
Yeah.
So you, as part of that, the learning process that most children of our age have gone through, I think times have changed, new information has come available, people are making different choices. But typically, at some point, you let the child, I hate to say cry through the night, but cry themselves to a point where they figure out how to self soothe.
Mhm.
And I just wonder, at what point did we lose the ability to do that? Because the people that we're working with are reaching outside of themselves, instead of whatever it was, whether it was their blankie, their thumb, like a child's what's the word I want to use? Their coping mechanism can be different. It's certainly not a breathing technique. They have no idea how to calm their nervous system, but something natural happens. What do you
Hmm.
think?
Well, excluding porn. Um, excluding porn, because that's a whole thing on its own. I think that somewhere along the line, um, I don't know if the skills were taught. Like, I don't know if it got mixed up. Like, it's not okay to cry. It is okay to cry. Like, there's so many mixed signals that I'm not sure that people know how to really kind of process feelings, thoughts. I don't know that there is a way to go back in time and say which one it is, but I think that that has something to do with it, depending on where you fall. Like, are you a millennial? Are you a Gen Xer? Because coping mechanisms seem to change for each generation. So what is happening? Like when we were kids, we coped a little differently. We didn't talk about our feelings. Most people didn't cry. We just kind of suck it up, buttercup, and keep going because you're a latchkey kid and, deal with your shit later. Right. And then you had those people being young parents to millennials, or younger millennials, and their coping mechanism is a little different. Right. So I don't, it's kind of hard like to say, did we did not have coping mechanisms. Ours were private. So
I think there's one that most Gen Xers can remember, and that's count to 10.
I was going to say self medicate, but okay.
Well, yeah, that's young. You figure that out on your own. Like as far as being taught something, I know you're making a
Yeah.
joke. Yeah.
Yeah. Self medicate.
Um, but like, because what I'm convinced of is we weren't taught anything.
No,
We
right.
picked up things that we saw others doing, that maybe appeared to work for them. And of
Mm-hmm.
course I'm talking about mind and mood altering chemicals and alcohol. That seems
Mm-hmm.
to certainly change people, um,
Mm-hmm.
for good or bad. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like as far as there's no class in like junior high school of like, hey, this is how you mitigate your nervous system from going into overload. Like,
Well, okay, but for some time, that's a recent thing to say. That wasn't even said when we were kids. Your
well,
nervous
not
system,
publicly out. And I mean, you
not
think
even
about
privately. Like, think
HMI
about
has been around for 56 years or 57 years. So people
it.
have been talking about it, but not at a public school level or in the home or on television. Definitely private institutions for sure, but you'd have to
I don't
seek that
think.
out. And the tools were different. You can't
I
just
don't.
Google, what do I do for, the fight or flight back
Well,
in
there was no Googling.
1978. There was no
Yeah,
Google.
there was no Googling. So I don't think it was as I don't think things were as talked about as they are today. And they're not as widely accepted as they are today.
Yeah,
Um,
there's definitely, the super highway of information has, I believe, contributed to the wonderment of information literally in the palm of your hand.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but I think the pendulum swings a little far on certain things where the things become overused and buzzwords, and then you really don't know what you're dealing with. You're just
Yeah,
saying words that
right.
sound really good. Like, um, you know, pick a word. Pick one of the words they use all the time. Oh, yes. Right. I'm triggered. That's the word.
That's a good popular word. Triggers.
Yeah, I keep saying it. Um, when you start saying those things though, that doesn't mean you're re-triggering yourself.
Well, you're perpetuating the loop. Yeah, we've talked about
Mhm.
this. I don't know
Right.
when, but we
Yeah.
it may have been 3 years ago or in a podcast
Right.
episode, but it's collectively, yeah, that you're affirming it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Uh-huh.
the shift from, um, unfortunately, the shift from, and I have somebody knocking at my door, unfortunately. So uh, hopefully they're just going to go away. Just leave the package, UPS. No need to talk to me. Like,
It's
really,
fine.
bro? And it's like a little soft knock,
Mm.
bro.
They're they're afraid to knock.
Well, they're not supposed to knock. Just leave the package and go.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, this perpetuation of language, and I posted the other day, one of the most beautiful simple mind hacks that you can do for yourself is change the way you talk to yourself and out
Yep.
loud, which is this perpetual loop that you're bringing up, right? Like, oh, I'm always triggered by, like, you're affirming it, like
Yeah.
I am.
You took that event and you are reinforcing it in your subconscious mind as
Yeah,
negative.
right.
And
So
you don't
you're
even know if it's true all the time. Maybe you're just having a bad day.
it's just a freaking loop that you're stuck in
Hmm.
because you don't know how to break it on your own.
Hmm. Hmm.
Certainly not taught, right? So if you're lucky enough to stumble across our podcast, you could watch all the episodes, and you
Hmm.
can really get a good feel for,
Yeah.
wow, hypnosis works,
Hmm.
and you can change the way you think.
Absolutely. You can change the way you think and you can change the way you speak about yourself internally and externally.
Yeah.
Change that. See what happens. I
Yeah.
guarantee
So
everything else will start
the
to
simple
change.
one that I posted the other day was, you can easily change your language from I have to I get
Hmm.
to. It's
Hmm.
such a simple, but it's so powerful, right? Because
Hmm.
how many times do people just go, the eyes go up. I gotta move my dog. Like, no, man, like I got to be a dad this week and help my daughter move back into her apartment. Like, that's like I got to. I get to,
Hmm.
right? That's a
Hmm.
positive. And
Yeah.
it's really that's the power of a suggestion to yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
My
why do
favorite is
those,
I like it.
huh?
My favorite is I like it.
I like it.
When it's something negative, like when it's something that's, you know,
Give me
it's
an example.
um oh, when somebody road rage, here's a good one. When somebody's raging in the car and I like it. I like it because I don't want to
Wait, wait,
engage.
wait, wait, wait. You
So
like it?
so this is a real story.
Explain yourself, woman.
I'm coming up to a yellow light. It's a
Okay.
residential area. I'm doing the speed limit and I see the light turn yellow. I know there's actually enough time for me to make it through the intersection, but I'm not going to do it. It's a residential area. So I stop and the lady behind me is just flipping out. And I'm like, I like it. I like it. I'm not letting her get to me. I like it. It's fine. I like it. And I just keep
Huh.
repeating it until they're gone. That way I don't engage in their drama
Yeah.
when it's something like that. Like
It's easy to
that's
get sucked in, huh?
it's super easy because had she rolled down her window and I went in and then it could get really, really crazy. And so I like it. I like it. It's fine.
That's
I like it.
interesting. I like that perspective. I've never heard
Yeah.
anyone talk about doing that. That's
Saying you
interesting.
like it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
I like it.
something negative is happening, to just say you like it.
Because it takes away the negative. It really takes it away out of you. I like it. It's fine. It's fine. good. I like it. It's good. It's great. I'm listening to myself. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I don't have to engage because I'm not going to give it any power.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Okay.
giving it any negative power.
All
So
right.
that's a good one.
So that would be a suggestion that you're giving yourself,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
I do. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You want more?
No, I just think this is a fascinating topic that's kind of evolved out of this conversation we're having about the power
Oh,
of suggestions, right? Because
yeah.
we're talking about self-talk, where it all starts. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
really starts with what's going on around you, your environment, where, nurture nature, you could argue, but like we're a product of our upbringing and the people that are around us and what they're saying, because we're little
Mm-hmm.
parrots when we're, 3 to 8 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah. So it becomes really obvious your thought patterns when you're not around a lot of other people and you start listening really to yourself and watching your reactions to yourself and watching how you feel. Watching, like separating yourself from it. Just because you have feelings, they're not always factual. Your thoughts
Mhm.
aren't always factual and real. They're
Right.
thoughts, they're feelings, right? But if you start kind of separating it out in a way where if you're going about your day and let's say you're not interacting, you're not on social media, you're not talking to anybody, you're just spending a quiet time alone, start paying attention to what those thoughts are going on. And when the negatives come, you have to then wonder where are those coming from?
Hmm.
Where did those come from? Like if you look in the mirror and go, God, I'm fat, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Or I'm not, I have blonde hair. I don't have black hair like Kim Kardashian. Okay, let's
Right.
just say, right? So
Some
am I
image
not
that you're holding above you. Yeah.
right? So I'm not like her. Does that mean that I'm not as beautiful or, seen as beautiful as her because my hair is blonde? Where's that coming from? That's coming from social media, right? Or whatever. Um, this is how you can kind of start to pick apart like where these thoughts are coming from and what they're doing to you.
Hmm.
What they're doing to you is what's the most important part. Are they negative?
Yeah.
Are they positive? Does this build you up or break you down?
That's an awful lot of work to do by yourself, on yourself, for yourself.
It isn't a lot of work.
Hence why
And
there's millions of self-help books out there.
it's true, but you don't have you should have somebody helping guiding you through some of this because you will lie to yourself. We all
Yeah,
do
and
it.
uncovering the truth about yourself by yourself is can be very challenging, right? Because you have
Yeah.
memories that are mixed with experience and projections that are clouded by actual, like I see this as I've shared with you in our personal life, right? And not on the podcast, but I think I've made mention of this, like that I was just my daughter and I had dinner the other night, and we went for a nice walk, and she asked me about my family, the family origin, because my her older sister did some project for school that she needed to understand the family tree, and so
Mhm.
she reached out to my sister, who's like the historian of our family tree, and it was just a very interesting conversation around like how things came about in our family. But uh, it was just very interesting to be recounting this history of and as I'm telling these stories, like I'm half remembering, but then I'm also kind of a little bit over here in this area that's like this created memory bank that I have of what I believe happened, right? Because
Mhm.
my experience of what I took in and how I perceived it, why we talk about this as our internal representation, NLP
Mhm.
term, right? That
The story of our life.
my sister and I were in the
Mhm.
same situations,
Yeah.
having different experiences because of how it reflects to us with our personal involvement in the topic or whatever, right? It was just
Right.
very interesting to be reminded of that, that two people can be in the same situation but having different experiences.
Not only that, but you may have a different feeling now than when the event happened, right?
Oh,
So say there's an
certainly.
event at 15
Yeah.
years old and your reaction and you felt so justified, whatever it was, and then you fast forward 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you may see that whole event completely different. Even though the things happened,
Yeah.
you still may have you will have, could have a different perspective on why it happened and how it happened and the
100%.
whole effect. I
Especially if
mean,
you're a seeker and you choose a path of enlightenment to try and figure out why you're the way you are.
absolutely. But you cannot do it all alone.
Oh
I'm
no. Oh
so
no, no, no.
all I was
No.
saying was like if you've got those reoccurring thoughts of, I'm not worthy or I'm not
Right.
beautiful or I'm
Right.
not loved, those ones that are there, when it gets really, really quiet, ask yourself, who is that? Is that my belief? Or is that a belief? Is that somebody else that said it to me and now it's stuck? And it's stuck in that loop. And when it's stuck in that loop, you need to ask yourself, am I willing to live the rest of my life like this, or can I find a new way? And if the answer is I could find a new way, then you need to go get a hypnotherapist. You need to go get a therapist. You need to then go outside of yourself to do the work.
100%. Yeah, we're in
Okay.
agreement here. All right, so let's say that they've heard about somebody and hypnosis, and or maybe they saw a show, or like most people, they have either the Hollywood version or the stage version that they believe, but we tend to be the last house on the block, so to speak, where, well, I've tried everything else. I might as
Well,
well
what the
try
hell?
this hypnosis thing, you
Sure,
know.
you should.
And so once we get past all that, and you get to a
Mm-hmm.
place of open-mindedness and willingness, right,
Mm-hmm.
to trust the process and pick someone that you connect with and feel
Mm-hmm.
confident can help you. Let's talk about the like how let's talk about the power of suggestions. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you want to lead off with this? I want to hear your
No, you
thoughts.
can. No,
Huh?
you can. No,
No,
you
I
can.
can. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
go
So,
for it.
it's just it's so interesting to be a hypnotherapist who helps people by crafting these positive suggestions for change that they want, right? A big part of what I
Mm-hmm.
do is I'm really good at asking questions, and I'm really good at uncovering some inner truths that slip out. People will let the truth slip out when they're not even paying attention. Like all of a sudden they'll say
Mm-hmm.
something and I'll be like, okay, what was that again? And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh wow. It's like that
Mm-hmm.
moment where the light bulb comes on and they're like, I don't want to think and feel like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's important that it matters where it came. Like, I'm not talking about needing to do timeline therapy where it happened in the womb or it happened at 3, or like, I personally don't think that's important, because what's important is what they believe now.
Mm-hmm.
What is that known association now, and is it serving them or hurting them? And
Mm-hmm.
really, what would they like? How would they like to show up in a opposite of that? And
Mm-hmm.
it's not as simple as I'd like to be happy if I'm sad, right? It's not that simple, but you could
Mm-hmm.
basically, almost like that yin yang episode we did, a little tiny
Mm-hmm.
bit, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
really more about a targeted approach of, I mean, let's just use stress and anxiety, right? I want to be, I would like to not have road rage. How about that, right? Like, that was one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite clients back when I was at HMI, one of my pro bonos, like this heavy duty road rage. And we worked together and created some solutions for him when he, so first and foremost, you have to be willing to kind of watch for your, like, watch how you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling in the moments of your day. You can't just
Mm-hmm.
head down and go on
No,
cruise
you have
control.
to be present.
Yeah. It's kind of like
Yep,
that
take
inventory
inventory.
that you were talking about a few episodes ago, right? And so if
Hmm.
you're watching, and then here's the hardest thing I think that everybody has is the ability to pause and take a second to make room
Hmm.
for a response instead of the reaction that you typically go to.
Hmm.
And then using the power of hypnosis, which is really just a deep state of relaxed focus where you're able to bypass the critical mind and the conscious thinking that says, no, no, this is what we do, this is what we want. So
Hmm.
that you create a new response to
Hmm.
the old reaction.
Yes.
Well,
Yes. I
you're
agree.
asking.
Hold on.
Okay, okay.
I
Uh,
agree.
I know you do. We're very interesting, I think, and I'm not just saying that because we're the hosts of the podcast, but like my collective experience with us is we're so much um, swimming in the same lake or
Hmm.
river, but sometimes we're in different currents, and sometimes we're
Uh-huh.
like we're just we have our own internal representations and lenses of our experiences at HMI and what we've learned and the clients that we've attracted to ourselves, and
Well, that's
we're
what I was
swimming in
getting
the
ready
same
to say.
waters, but what?
That's what I was getting ready to say is that we're very similar in all of those things, but and we have the same education, but I think we approach it differently, um, and we attract differently.
Yeah.
So I don't attract those people for some reason. And it's funny because you do know what I the long
Sorry, I just
list.
tripped out on those people. Like,
Those are really normal people. I don't get like easy street like
no,
anxiety.
yeah. So listen, let's be clear. You've said this to me before, and just everybody, just go get a drink or something. We're gonna chat for a second. Like, I don't attract easy street, okay? Like, I
I don't
attract
think so.
the people that I believe that I can help the most. That's what I
I
attract.
understand. I understand.
Yeah, you
But
do
that's
tend
not.
to attract a little more complicated of a presenting issue.
Yes, I do.
But
I do.
unfortunately, because of our friendship and the depth of our connection, that some of that has transpired and onto me.
All right.
No, it's okay. It's okay because it's being challenged can be looked at a negative or a positive thing, right?
I
These
always love this challenge.
Yeah.
It comes
So
to the
it
problem.
forces you to get out of your comfort zone,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
is
Stress and anxiety is really comfortable for me.
it's of
So
course it's
I need to
yeah.
push out. So yeah. So it, most of the time, the vast majority of my clients, they're not, it's not just stress. It's always something else going on. And I love them. I
Yeah.
love to peel back. This is my point. I love to
Yeah.
peel back the layers of the onion because 9 times out of 10, they want to know where they've tried everything else. And they come to me and they're like, I don't know how to fix this. I'm at my wit's end. Okay.
Right.
So then it's, where does it start? Where is it at? Like that is then the process. And I'm fine with it. And it's not a long drawn out process. This is a few questions and then it starts clicking for them very quickly. So but yes, our process is a little different. When somebody comes in it's just stress and anxiety, that's wonderful. I love that. But there are others that are just, let's peel back the layers. And it's each layer has another issue, and that's great, right?
Well, even okay, so I'm going to defend my easy street stress and anxiety clients and tell you that
Don't
um,
mean it as
on the
easy. I mean,
surface, right?
it's like,
It seems like one of the collectively, I hate to say easier, but what's
less
going on
complex.
underneath. I don't just do a standard, oh, here's your stress and anxiety episode, right? Like there's
No, I don't think you
obviously
do.
what's underneath it is what really matters, right? That's the
Hmm.
change to affect, not
Hmm.
just having a different response, but
Right.
changing at a deep rooted, right? We talk about these loops and patterns, the programming, right? So somewhere in there, you pick up some programming that says this is how I act when this happens.
Hmm.
So, like with the smokers, we go back to their earliest memory of a smoke.
Hmm.
So I do like that part. And
Yeah.
whenever I'm in a session and I'm asking that range of questions, I'm like I immediately am transported back to like when I'm 13 in the woods with my cousin Jen after we just
Hmm.
stole a couple of parliaments. Remember parliaments? Like did you
Yes.
smoke ever?
Hmm.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
had like the hole in the filter. It was just
Yep.
weird, right? I would
My aunt
yeah,
used to smoke those.
but
Hmm.
I'm
I mean,
instantly
everybody.
instantly time traveling back to the woods in
Of course.
Brookfield, Connecticut.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. No, and stress and anxiety is not easy. It's just, I mean, my list is a little different.
Huh?
That's all. The list is different. Like, I don't, if I got stress and anxiety from people, that's great. But that's not what I attract. That is not what I attract.
But you also in your defense, um,
Mm,
I think that you're a magnet for people just like I am a magnet for people that I can help, that I can be
mm,
of the most help to. And
yeah.
you took on somebody
Hmm.
that began this whole vertical for you, right? In the
Hmm.
business world,
Yes.
this would be a vertical market for you, right?
Yes.
And because of your dedication, and you don't get awards just because you're pretty, okay? I mean, we're
Thank
both
you.
we're both handsome people, right? But they don't just pass out awards because you show up every day. This
Yeah, no.
isn't current Little League, right? Where you get an award
No.
for showing up, right?
Participation
Participation
award?
award, yeah. No, no,
I
these
didn't
are
get a
earned
participation.
awards, and
Yes.
and and that comes with a significant amount of dedication to the
Mhm.
craft and the study and the extra work that is beyond. Oh, here's your education
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
no.
you made a decision to take on something that was not a standard presenting issue during COVID
No.
and dug in and figured it out and pulled your
Mm,
resources and you were of significant service to this client.
mhm. Yeah. There's been a few.
Yeah,
There's been
yeah,
a
yeah. But
few.
but but that one is to
Oh
for
yeah.
me being an outsider who doesn't
Mhm.
have all the facts, and we
Right.
talk, we do our own little version of a case conference together, but we
Right.
remove names and
Mhm.
details. Um,
Yeah, no.
but I've watched you embrace it.
Yeah.
Which how about that for a lesson for everybody?
Mhm. Yeah.
Embracing change, embracing the unknown, embracing and leaning in,
So you
right?
like it. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. You got to
Yeah.
lean in. And really that's, well, some people are afraid to even, I mean, I'm not sure if we can even say like the word on YouTube, but some people are even afraid to even say those things.
Oh, yeah, well,
It's
the irony is that it's the dirtiest secret in the whole world. This topic
except
that we're not talking about,
right,
right?
which is fun. Um, if you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
but it's literally the amount of money that industry makes is insane.
It's obscene.
That's the obscene part. Yes,
Literally.
literally.
Yeah.
That's more obscene than what's happening. But it's and it's really sad because there's not enough help, not enough knowledge. Like
Well,
you you,
there's
you got to
also this
piece it.
the public stigma
Stigma. Yeah,
of
that's what I'm saying.
admitting. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I don't know how we're over here, but like
This is where we go.
I binge watched Baby Reindeer.
Oh, I didn't.
God. So well written, so well acted. It is definitely worth the watch. It's a little disturbing. Um,
Okay.
and it's another, it's not the P topic that we're talking about,
Okay.
but it's just, I, without getting into the details, I would just, it's,
I mean,
I'm
is it over there in that field of
Oh
things?
yeah,
Like,
it's
okay,
aggressively over in that field. Like it, but
got
it's
it.
not about corn stars or, like it's not like that. Like it's a regular guy that's a bartender trying to be a comic who befriends and is kind to this woman who comes into the bar. He gives her a cup of tea on him and she becomes his stalker. And it's just
Okay.
this woven tale, and then there's some it's just very
Okay.
intense.
I'll
I
go
I
check
don't
it
want to
out.
turn this into a like
A
a
review?
movie review kind of.
Siskel and Ebert? Like,
But it was just like, it's just one of those, and it won like 6 or 7 Emmys. Like it did so well. And there's this scene where this guy gets filmed secretly on YouTube. YouTube gets a nod, right?
okay.
Of this admission that he does of everything that has transpired, and because it's gotten
Okay.
very convoluted at this point, and there's, police are involved, and there's some brutality involved with of the sexual nature,
Okay.
and so he admits to it in this little diatribe speech that he does, and somebody films it without his knowing and posts it, and
Hmm.
he goes viral, and
Okay.
is called brave, and because
Hmm.
admitting your deepest darkest secrets to the public on purpose is like, whoo, that's heavy,
Brave.
right?
That's
We can
brave.
barely get people to do that in session that are
Yeah.
there on purpose, right? Because
They
they're
don't want to
afraid to
admit
let
anything.
go and hold back. So my gift, my gift is that I build enough confidence and trust with people that they open up to me.
Mm.
It's
Right.
just something that is one of my superpowers, that I'm so grateful that I have that skill. Um,
Right.
and I'm so grateful when somebody finally just like gives up and just lets it out, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's the power of it, because then from there you can then start talking about, like, well, okay, let's say, hang on, I'll give you my magic wand here. I'll take my tassels, they're magic. Let me grab my tassels. Ding! Here, wave these over your head, and now tell me what you would like to be instead. How
Right.
would you like to respond when you go to your parents' house for Thanksgiving? How would you rather show up?
Right.
Oh, couldn't possibly do that. I just slip right into it. It's autopilot. I'm like, no, no, you have the power to interrupt that pattern and change the way that you are.
I think part of it really is that some people, for a lot of us, that we're just going so fast that we are on autopilot.
Totally. 100%.
Um, and that then we are creatures of habit.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's even a negative habit, um, you're going to fall into that. There's also, I mean, y- unfortunately, it's really hard to disconnect and slow down. It's really hard for a lot of people because they think that they need to be in that position to continue. Like they think that that's part of their everyday life, and it's really not.
It's literally changing a Friday for a Wednesday. It's uncomfortable. It's not known. It's like it just throws you off, and it's like it's just
Mm,
easier to just go with the norm, so to speak.
yeah.
But the norm
I
is
mean,
killing you, especially if you're willing to be honest with yourself about how you really feel about your life and what you're doing.
mhm,
That's kind of back to your inventorying, right? Like most people
mhm.
do not take inventory of
It's
themselves.
scary. It could be very scary, but let me cut to the chase. You are the monster at the end of the book. Like it's your book. It's your life. Like
Yeah. And
you're going to be okay.
what's crazy about that is, as the author, you have 100% rights to change the story,
Sure.
but people don't know
Absolutely.
how.
Well, they need to pick up the phone and call you.
Or
They need to
you.
call you.
Yeah.
They need to call me. Somebody. Call one of us.
Ghostbusters,
We'll help you.
somebody. Yeah.
Ghostbusters, yeah, go ahead. But
Yeah.
seriously, that's what you need to do. That's if you can't sit for a couple of hours and look at yourself without any distractions and be okay with your thoughts, then you need to pick up the phone and call somebody.
Mm,
There's the marker. That's how you know.
yeah.
If you're one of those people that, obsessively Googles and tries to figure out everything on your own, guess what? That's not going to fix it.
No.
That's not.
Self-education will only take you so far. Hence my
Yeah.
my tongue-in-cheek comment that I consistently make about millions of self-help books. There's a reason why there's so many. It's,
One size doesn't fit all, first of
no,
all. And everybody has the same set of stuff, right? Everybody's got stuff, but you can't fix it all by yourself.
no.
You can't. I mean, Carl Jung gave himself a nervous breakdown, a mental breakdown at 40 years old, trying to prove his theory. If he couldn't do it with all the knowledge he had by himself, what makes everybody else think that they can? You can't.
Yeah.
You're not in it alone.
All right. So
You're
what
not.
should people do, Tina?
Well, they should just, they should come find us,
Well,
Instagram,
we could probably make it
website.
pretty easy, right? Like you could go to your website, tinaorlandohypnosis.com, or you can go to mine, the number
Mm-hmm.
360
You can find
hypnotherapy.com.
us on.
Those are two great places to start
You can
and
find
do
us
your
on social
research.
media.
Yeah. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so the internet's good for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You do your research.
Doing your
You could
research, finding
find us
somebody that you
on social
feel a
media.
connection to, like that's
Mm-hmm.
probably the best advice I would give somebody is find someone that a has the credentials, but then also have a conversation with them, have a
Mm-hmm.
consultation, take that 20 minutes out of your busy life and like
Mm-hmm.
connect with somebody and see if that's somebody that you could work with
Yeah. Yeah.
and elicit change.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely. And honestly, if I'm not a good fit, I'll find you somebody that is.
That's right.
I'll give you a reference to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's how confident I am in knowing that if you make that call, I'm willing to go that extra mile and help you find at least where you need to go. That's
Yeah.
how it works.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'll just remind people of what I didn't remind them in the beginning, which is, hey, if you like what you're hearing, click the like button. You can share this. You can, we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments section. We do read them, obviously. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so like, follow, subscribe, and we'll post a new episode every week. So,
Mm-hmm.
Tina,
So our subconscious speaks. The question is, are you listening?
yeah, listen up.
Listen up.
There's a suggestion.
Time. Time.
All right. Thank you, Tina.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.